Think, how must they feel now? Because if that was me, I'd be just so upset. But at the same time, every night was just another hurdle, you know, another step. Like.
I would give everything I own. I'd give all my life, my heart, my home. I would give everything I own just to have you back again.
Do you know them?
Yeah.
Who are they?
Friends
and family.
I don't know a few of them.
So, he's the baby of the bunch, but how do you think he did today, Jerry?
I think he did great. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I think, you know what I love about watching Matt is that you can generally see you're so excited to be here, and it's so contagious, and that's so important being a performer. So, you know,
I'm holding him down,
keep at it. It's brilliant.
Louis?
Yeah, Matt is really nervous because I talked to him after rehearsals. He's really nervous, but he gets my #1 vote. Absolutely.
Being the baby of the house, of course, he's the hardest to control because he is like a ping pong ball, Matt.
Yes.
You know, he picks a song and we change it 30 times before we get to anybody else picking a song. But you know, he does do a great job at what he does, and his enthusiasm, you can't fault it. It's fantastic.
The only time I've been emotional is the last day before I came here. I didn't expect to be either. I just was like, sort of the night before, and I was about to go, I was saying bye-bye to all my friends and that, and I got a wee bit teary, which is sort of a bit of a shock to me. And it's like, okay, I'm crying here. Didn't think I was going to, you know. And then in the morning when we said bye-bye to my granny and my dad and that, I was pretty upset as well. But since I got here, I've had a great time. All the guys are great, so we haven't had any problems yet. I say yet.
Seeing my friends go out, I made a few good friends during the week with 112, I think it was. So that was really hard to take, me getting through. I was very excited to get through, but then them not getting through, you know, brings you down to earth, so you don't want to celebrate that much, and that was hard to take. The waiting around, it's an awful lot of waiting around. I'm very impatient. That's part of my personality, it's one of my flaws, but that's been tough.
Throughout the 100 auditions, when we were under groups of hundreds, I was sort of kept myself away from everybody and stayed. I worked really hard because I've done auditions before and I wasn't working as hard as I should have been. But until I actually got home, I didn't realise how hard it had been, because I sort of like went home and I just sort of I burst into tears actually for about 4 hours. And then
I can see what people say about this kind of show, but what it does, what people have got to understand, what it does is it gives somebody who has been trying and another route. It gives them another route to get to where they want to be. And I think, on one hand, I think it's a very, very good way of doing it.
Okay, so this is it. One of you is going to be back with us next week, one of you isn't. I can tell you now that there were 5,341 votes between you. The first boy going home is Andrew. Okay, listen, Andrew. Listen, Andrew, guys, I'm gonna have to send you all back, because Andrew, we want you to do one thing for us before you go. Sing. Too right.
When I was first told that, you know, the person that was getting knocked out that week was going to be asked to perform, I thought, you know, that's actually a very cruel thing to do. I mean, how can you give a performance when you've been told such a devastating piece of news? But now, having lived through a few people doing that, I'd say almost without exception, everyone that's sung at the end of a show has given a miles better performance than they did during the show for some reason or another.
Everybody needs a little time away. I heard you say from each other. Even lovers need a holiday. Far away from each other.
I sort of had a tear running down my cheek, and then I looked down the row of 9 boys watching their friend, and every single one of them was crying, and indeed a couple of them were sobbing. And I thought, wow, this is intense. And I'd never felt like that on a show before. I'd never kind of felt so incredibly warm towards somebody.
After all that we've been through, I will make it up